Section 4.8, use isosceles and equilateral triangles. Please take notes with me on this video. And I'm so sorry that I might look like this is a kindergartner writing this. I have forgotten my Apple Pencil at school, and I'm trying to make this video at home. So remember, equilateral triangles. Remember what lateral means? Sides. This means all the sides are equal. All three sides are congruent. So if you have a triangle and all three sides are marked the same, then we actually know that all three angles would be the same. If three sides are congruent, immediately the three angles are congruent. So, three congruent angles. Think back with me. Here's our equilateral triangle again. You don't have to redraw it. I was just out of room. If all three of these angles are equal, then how much do they equal? How much is one angle? Well, you might remember that all three angles of the triangle equal 180. And if they're all the same, we can divide 180 by 3 and get that they're each 60. So this is huge. If you have an equilateral triangle, then your angles, your angles are immediately all 60. Ugh, it doesn't write very well. So we have three congruent sides, then all three angles are 60 degrees. Well, we're going to use that. On the worksheet you're going to do for me, you're going to have a problem like this, where you have a triangle. It's marked like this, and this angle might be 2x. Oops, I can't give it. And they want you to find x. You say, well, if all three sides are equal, I know all three of the angles are all 60. So that means that angle up there that's 2x is also equal to 60. So you make a little equation. If all the angles are 60 and that angle's 2x, divide by 2 on both sides, and you get that x is 30 degrees. Also, we might have a triangle. Well, we could go back to this one. No. Also, you might have a triangle that's marked like this. Equal arc, equal arc, equal arc. Oh, well, if we have three congruent angles, then we know all three sides are equal also. It's just they are like peanut butter and jelly. They're like ham and cheese. If all three angles are equal, it means all three sides are equal. If all three sides are equal, it means all three angles are equal. So if I tell you this side is 12 and this side is 4x, and I want you to find x, you say, well, if all the angles are equal, that means all my sides are equal. So that 12 side and that 4x side are the same. So 12 equals 4x. This side over here is really 12 long. So you divide both sides by 4 and you get that x is 3. So I like these. I think it's kind of fun the way they work out. Let me see, is there something else I need to do? I think that's pretty good on equilateral. Then we also want to think about isosceles. Remember, isosceles, it's like you have two eyes, right? It sounds like eyes. So isosceles has two congruent sides. Isosceles triangles have two congruent sides. Well, let's think about this. If, going back, equilateral triangles had three congruent sides, and that meant all the angles were equal, an isosceles triangle has two congruent sides, so we have two congruent angles. And isosceles triangles, that's huge. That's very, very important right there. So there are parts of an isosceles triangle that we haven't learned yet. Isosceles. Parts of an isosceles triangle. So if you want to draw it with me, we'll go ahead and mark these two sides equal. Those are my two sides that are the same. Well, these two sides that are marked the same, those are called legs. I don't really know why, but they are. And the side that's not marked is called the base. So when I see an isosceles triangle, I like to set it on its base so that the legs are...
Here's what I found.
Whoops, sorry. I like to draw it so that the base is on the bottom like that. Kind of like the basement is under the house. I like to put the base on the bottom. So we've got that. The angle that's across from the base. So if you draw a line straight through your triangle to find an angle, you would hit this angle up here. That's called the vertex angle. So that angle that's opposite the base is called the vertex angle. And then these two angles that are on the base, this one and this one, they are the congruent angles. Remember, two legs, two sides are the same, two angles are the same. So it's these two, and they're called base angles. And they're the two angles that are sitting there on the base. And one of the base angles is opposite one of the legs that's equal, and the other base angle is opposite the other leg that's equal. So the two angles that are equal are across from the two sides that are equal. So it's very, very nice. Let's work one. Let's see. Boom, boom. There's your equal sides. This is 14. This is 2x. Can we figure out what x is? Well, those are the two sides that are equal. So our little equation would be 14 is 2x. Divide both sides by 2. So x is 7. Now let's deal with the angles. First off, just try to pick out which two are the equal ones. They're the two that are across from the sides, so it's these two. If I tell you that this angle up here is 40, do you think we could find this angle down here? Let's call it y. Well, there's different ways to think about it. One way would be to think, well, if the vertex angle is 40, and I know a triangle is 180, 180 minus 40 leaves 140 degrees for these other two angles. But I know those are the two that are equal. So I've got to split 140 evenly between those two. So I'm going to do a little weird division down here. So 140 split into two angles gives us 70 for each of those. So this angle is 70 and this angle is 70. We could kind of work with it another way. You could work with it algebraically. Let me erase this equation up here and erase the stuff about the sides. So if I need to figure out what these angles are down here, and we're going to call the one y. Well, the other one over here is equal to it, so it's also y. So we know the triangle, all the angles of the triangle add up to 180. So we can say the 40 plus the y plus the other y has to equal 180 if I add them all up. 1y plus another y is 2 y's. Minus 40 on both sides. So 2y equals 140, and then divide both sides by 2, and we figure out that y is 70. So both ways are great. Use the way that seems to make the most sense to you. Let's do another one. This time, if these are equal, actually, this time, I'm going to tell you that this is 50, and this is 50, and I want you to find this. Well, I really want you, really want you to start getting into your head that if I have two angles the same, I would immediately have two sides that are the same. And not that I need it to do this problem, but if these two angles are the same, then the side opposite this one, this side, is equal to the side opposite this one. So let me get rid of those arrows. So this side is actually equal to this side. Those are my legs. This side over here is the base. So we're trying to find the vertex angle, just to practice vocabulary. We're trying to find the vertex angle. Well, we know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So we can add the two up that we know. Those two are 100. So if we subtract 100 from 180, we can figure out what's left for x. So x would be 80. The other way to go about it would be with your equation. 50 plus x is 180. Add all three angles up, set it equal to 180. Combine your 50s. Minus 100 on both sides. And get that x is 80. So both ways are great. Just decide to work it out the way that makes the most sense to you. Oh, let's do this one. Okay. Give you all this stuff. Sometimes in math we give you information that you don't need, just to make sure that you're able to narrow it down and use the things that you do need. So when you look at this picture, I first want you to notice that two angles are marked the same. So that means two sides are the same. And it's very important to me that you're able to see which two sides it is. So go ahead and decide. It's never this side that's in between the two angles. It's never that side. That's the base. Always these other two. That's my dog. So those are the two sides that are equal. So if one of them is 12, then this other one is 12. So we can set x plus 3 equal to 12 minus 3 on both sides and get x to be 9. I don't know if I've hit all the information that you need, but I think we've done a pretty good job. Let me look through and see if I've done, yep. I think we've done a pretty good job of working on them. So now you can try your worksheet, and it is for you to finish Friday for satellite work if you don't get done in class, and bring it with you to school when we come back from fall break so we can think about it and jog our memories. All right.